Now that you have material and you're finding your way on stage and doing open mics, let's talk a little bit now about open mic etiquette. The reason why I didn't bring this up earlier is I just wanted you to write material. And my guess is that most of you haven't even found your way to do an open mic yet. I don't know if you're like me, but my personality used to be of somebody that would get through a lesson like this and then think that they'll have the courage to go up on stage. That's why after every lesson I'm telling you, get up on stage, hire a coach, get some encouragement to go and do this thing. Right? Well, let's say you've been to a few open mics and you might have learned some lessons already. But I'm going to tell you that open mics are absolutely 100% all that you need to build your stand-up comedy career. I'm going to talk about the market down here, but I'm also familiar with the Midwest market. I'm also familiar with the Los Angeles stand-up market as well. Talent isn't going to get you gigs. Talent isn't going to get you discovered. There aren't going to be people coming to open mic shows looking to discover talent. Talent is not going to be the thing that makes you successful. If you want to know a little secret, everybody's talented. Everybody has the DNA to put together an improv set or a stand-up set or to be a good actor. Not everybody can be an exceptional athlete. That's where genetics get in the way. But absolutely anybody can be a great actor. Anyone can be a great comedian. I'd even argue that some people can be great singers or anything that has to do with a physicality that doesn't require you to be tall enough to dunk a basketball or something like this. Your job when you go out to these open mics is to become a professional networker. And you also have to have etiquette. When you're getting prepared to go to an open mic, not only do you need the address and the details of what it takes for you to get in, because, for example, you might have to bring people to be able to get up on stage. Because, again, these open mics, they're not really there for your benefit. They're there so that when you arrive, you drink or eat. And some of these places will require that you bring 3, 5, 10, 20 guests in hopes that they'll arrive and they'll drink too. So be prepared for that. And that's a pretty common thing. In fact, they call those shows bringers. The next job that you have is to look to see who the host is so that when you arrive, you can ask for the host and you can ask a few questions. 1, how much time do we get? It's so important to know if you get 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Because if you go over, it'll leave a bad taste in the host's mouth. Now, fortunately for the market that we originated our company in, which is South Florida, the Miami market, people aren't all that strict. However, in New York, Chicago, LA, if you're in those markets, you'll get a bad rap pretty quickly, and you can get banned from clubs because you don't respect other people's time. You can ask the very real question, at what time do I have left will you notify that I have X amount of time left? So the common number is 1 minute. So how will you notify me if I have 1 minute left? And from what I find with most of the clubs now, they turn the flashlight on their phone and they wave this until you acknowledge them. But you can have that discussion up front to make sure that you're being respectful. You should also ask what order are we being put in and how are we chosen to be in that order. It's important to know that because for the most part, you can go to an open mic night, put your name on a sheet and see what number you're going up. But more recently, open mics have converted to a bucket system to keep more people in the room. So what they'll do is they'll put everybody's name in a bucket. So you sign up between 8 and 9 o'clock at night. They'll put all the names in a bucket, and then every hour they'll reach in and put in and pull out like 6 names or 7 names, or however many names go up in an hour, and they'll say these are the people that are performing in the next hour. So you always have to be in the room to see if your name is being picked to come up, and only then will you know what order you go up. It's a pain in the ass. Open mics are a pain in the ass, but they're necessary. And the rooms that have real audiences are even more difficult to deal with because they know that they control you. They know that they have the leverage on you. One thing that I think gets overlooked a lot is asking about your content. So if you happen to be someone that's a dirty comedian that cusses or uses sexual content, ask the host, do I have to be clean? They'll really appreciate the question. And if the answer is yes, then you need to do clean material that night. Nothing is worse than coming into a room that is known to be clean, except for it's your first night and you don't know that, and doing some pretty explicit material. The final thing that you need to do when you introduce yourself to the host is thank them. Thanks for being here tonight. Thanks for having me. Thanks for answering my questions. I appreciate you. You don't know how far that goes to someone that's running a room. 50 to 75% of these guys aren't getting paid anything. And for the other half that are, they aren't getting paid enough. For the rooms that I've run over the years, a lot of it is bar tabs. And even then, after they see how much I can drink, those bar tabs go away pretty quickly too. But while you're there, you need to pay rent. So if you're looking at this like a job, you've got to pay rent for your space. And how do you pay rent at an open mic? You buy stuff. If you don't drink alcohol, that's okay. Buy a handful of Cokes or Diet Cokes or club sodas. Buy a pizza. Buy a coffee. Buy a hot chocolate. You just need to buy stuff. And the rule of thumb that I use is the minimum wage rule. So for every hour that I'm there, I should be spending somewhere between $8 and $10. Sounds like a lot of money, but to spend somewhere around $20 a night to work your craft and to be seen as a respectful comedian to a space that isn't hogging other people's time, that's being respectful of their time, I think it's a fair trade-off. And it's an investment into your craft and an investment into your relationships. You never want to be known as the comedian that is always trying to take, because people will not want to book you. Be friendly with the staff. Get to know the staff. If you make more friends at all of these different places, you're going to get more opportunities. Yeah, everything should be based off of the merit of your stand-up comedy, but it's not. If people like you more, you will get more opportunities. That's all there is to it. Connect with these comedians. Go find them on Twitter. Go find them on Facebook. Interact with them. See what they're doing. See how they're posting online. Okay. Don't mess with the set. Don't mess with the set. And don't mess with the set. That stuff is up there for a reason. They put it up there either as decoration or for somebody else to perform with. As a rule of thumb, if there's a stool up there, you can move it over and sit on it. If there's a mic stand up there, you can take the mic out of it and move the mic stand. But you should leave that stage exactly as you found it when you finish your set. Bring the mic stand back. Put the mic back in the holder. Definitely, you'll never ever want to make fun of the venue. Whatever venue you're in, never ever make fun of it. Maybe one day when you make it really big, you can talk about a particular venue that was really shitty and had a really small space, and it doesn't matter. These business owners are giving you a really, really, really big opportunity to get in front of their paying customers to tell your jokes. Now, what you'll hear the longer that you're out there is you're an indentured servant and you work for free and you're basically providing free entertainment for these people. That's all true as well. So it's a win-win for both parties. You're not getting paid as an entertainer, but at the same time, you may not necessarily be entertaining. Be respectful of the time. If you've been given 5 minutes, do 4 minutes and 45 seconds. Do everything you can not to go over time. Even if your best joke needs to run another 20 seconds, I argue that it's better for you to leave the stage early than it is to stay even 20 seconds later. Hosts get so annoyed by people that take advantage of the time that's provided to them. And at the same time, if you've been provided, say, 10 minutes and you finish your set at 6 minutes, please don't stand up there for 4 minutes just because you have the time. I'm perfectly okay with you riffing or improvising if that was your intention from the beginning. Oh, I've got about a 2-minute gap in here. I'm going to try to do crowd work. Cool. I love that idea. But please don't finish your set at 6 minutes and then have the next thing be, so what else is going on? Man, nothing frustrates comedians or even audiences than somebody that isn't respecting their time. Also, when you're on stage, don't make fun of other comedians. Don't make fun of their jokes. It's bad politics, but at the same time, the show is what audiences are coming to see. So an audience isn't going to come and say, we had a really good time for 5 minutes, and then we had a really bad time for 5 minutes. And we had a mediocre time for 5 minutes, and then we had a really good time for 5 minutes. An audience is going to walk out and determine whether or not that entire show made for a good evening or not. And then they'll generally say, this comedian was our favorite, and this comedian was our least favorite. But if you are sitting in the middle of a show and you decide to disparage somebody in that show that you're a part of, you're disparaging yourself, and you're putting down a comedian that theoretically has been working incredibly hard at their craft. That also goes off stage too. You shouldn't speak poorly of other comedians to other comedians. It is a small world, and everything that's said about everyone gets back to them. So unless you would like for that particular person that you're talking about to know exactly how you feel about them, keep it to yourself. The most successful comedians that I have found in my life go up, do their jokes, make nice with everybody, and go home. One of the most important things that you need to do as well is, even if you come off stage and you don't believe you had a very good set, or you think you felt like a hack, you might receive compliments. And they might be deserved compliments, or they might not be. They might just be people being nice. And you need to thank them. Thank them for the compliments. Because you want people to continue to be positive with you. Along those lines, you're also going to receive notes and criticism from other comedians. And the more you do open mic nights, there's going to be some comedians that you respect more than others. And generally, what I have found over time is the unsolicited advice comes from the comedians that should probably be taking some of the advice that they're giving to you. And all you have to respond to anybody that provides any type of criticism or notes or ideas or help is to say, thank you. That makes sense. I appreciate your help. You don't have to argue them. You don't have to run away from them. And most importantly, you don't have to take any of their advice. Really. Everyone that's in that room with you has been doing stand-up comedy likely for 2 years or less. It's very rare that some comedian that's been doing this for 10, 15, 20 years is going to go out of their way to go give you unsolicited advice. That being said, if you're at an open mic with a comedian that does a really great set and you find out that they've been doing comedy for a long time, it might be in your best interest to approach them, offer to buy them a beer, and pick their brain about your set if they happen to see it. Please don't take the suggestions of every single comedian that exists and try to implement it. I refer to that as comic's disease. You have one unsuccessful comic telling another unsuccessful comic how to do something. So bad habits, telling someone else how to add on to their already existing bad habits. Which finally means, please don't provide unsolicited advice to the other comedians out there. You're more than welcome to be honest if they ask, how did I do? And you're certainly more than welcome to go out of your way to compliment somebody when you think they had a killer set. But to go chase somebody down because you took this class or because you start to succeed as a comedian early and try to go give somebody advice is definitely a guaranteed way to be labeled as one of those people. So I hope this open mic etiquette finds its place for you. It's not much different than if you're in business and you're out there networking and marketing and trying to build friends and business and connections, because these are the people that if you stay connected with over the years will be the ones that begin to book shows that pay. And if they see you as someone that's working hard, as a nice person, and as a reliable person, you're going to get booked.